You called it confusing, but it was designed, not by accident, by an architect. You were never confused about what you wanted. You wanted clarity. You wanted to know where you stood. You wanted to stop calling it hanging out when it felt like dating, and stop calling it dating when they refused to call it anything at all. You asked, more than once, and every single time something happened. They got busy, work exploded, an ex resurfaced, family drama. They needed space to figure things out. They were not ready to put a label on it yet. Could you just enjoy what this is for now? So you waited. You stayed in the talking stage. You lived in relationship limbo. You told yourself it would resolve itself eventually, that clarity would just arrive one day, naturally, without conflict. It did not. Because here's what no one told you. This situationship was not random. It was an undefined relationship where you acted like a couple but never got the clarity, the label, or the commitment of one. It did not happen by accident. It did not just drift into gray territory, because both of you were equally confused. Someone built it that way, and whether they knew it consciously or not, they are the architect of that ambiguity. By the end of this, you will never look at an almost relationship the same way again. Here is the truth about situationships that no one wants to say out loud. They do not form because two people accidentally forgot to define the relationship. They form because one person benefits from keeping it undefined, and the other person stays, hoping it will eventually become something more. That is not miscommunication. That is architecture. Think of it like this. Imagine you are standing in a building with no doors, no exit signs, no clear path forward, just hallways that loop back on themselves. You keep walking, thinking eventually you will find the way out, but the building was designed to keep you inside. That is what a situationship is. A structure someone built, consciously or unconsciously, to keep you emotionally invested without the cost of actual commitment. And here's the part that makes it so effective. Ambiguity is a power tool. When someone refuses to define what you are to them, they get all the benefits of a relationship: your time, your affection, your availability, your emotional labor, without any of the accountability that comes with calling it what it is. You are not their partner, but you are not nothing either. You exist in this gray zone where they get to decide, day by day, how much of you they want to access. And you never get to ask for more without sounding needy or pushy or like you are trying to rush things. That gray zone is not an accident. It is the blueprint. Psychologists have studied how uncertainty affects human behavior, and here is what they found. Not knowing where you stand does not push people away. It pulls them in, because the human brain treats uncertainty like a puzzle that needs solving. And the longer the puzzle stays unsolved, the more obsessed you become with cracking it. You know that moment when you finally work up the courage to ask the question? Not in a heavy way, not dramatic, just honest, clear. So what are we doing here? Where is this going? And the second you ask it, their energy shifts. They do not get angry. They do not shut you down hard. That would be too obvious. Instead, they do something far more effective. They validate your feelings. They tell you they care about you. They remind you how good this has been. They say they are not seeing anyone else. They make you feel heard. And then, in the same breath, they introduce just enough doubt to stop the conversation from landing. I just do not want to rush into something and mess this up, you know? Can we just keep enjoying this for now? You feel selfish for pushing, so you drop it. You go back to the undefined relationship you were trying to leave. You tell yourself you are being patient. 3 weeks later, they text you at 11 p.m. like nothing happened. And you respond, because the last time you pulled back, they noticed. They asked if you were okay. They said they missed you. It felt like progress, like they were finally seeing what they had, so you stayed. That, right there, is what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. But here's what it actually means in plain English. A slot machine that pays out just enough to keep you pulling the lever. You do not get consistency. You get just enough attention, just enough affection, just enough hope that this time things are different, and it keeps you locked in. Research on behavioral psychology shows that inconsistent rewards create stronger emotional attachment than consistent ones. When someone gives you attention unpredictably, when you do not know if tonight they will be warm or distant, your brain becomes obsessed with figuring out the pattern. You start analyzing their texts, reading into tone, wondering what you did wrong when they go quiet, wondering what you did right when they come back. You are not crazy. You are responding exactly the way human psychology predicts. Here's the third scenario, and this one is the trap that keeps people in situationships for months, sometimes years. You have been in this talking stage for 4 months now, 5, maybe 6. You have met their friends, you have stayed over, you have had deep conversations about your childhoods, your fears, what you want out of life. It feels real. It feels like a relationship in everything but name. So why does the idea of walking away feel impossible? Because of something psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy. Here's what that means without the jargon. The longer you stay, the harder it is to leave, even when nothing is changing. You have invested time, emotional energy, vulnerability. You have turned down other opportunities because this felt like it was going somewhere. Walking away now would mean admitting that all of that was for nothing. So you stay. You tell yourself you are almost there, that if you just give it a little more time, a little more patience, it will finally click into place. But here is the uncomfortable mirror. The architect designed the building, but you are the one who kept paying rent. We stay in ambiguity because, on some level, we are afraid that if we demand clarity, the answer will be no. We would rather have a maybe than a no. But a maybe is just a slow motion no. The architect does not need to be confused. They just need you to be. This is not just about your situationship. This is about the fact that modern dating, especially in the age of apps, has turned ambiguity into a deliberate strategy. 50 years ago, relationships moved through clear stages. You went on dates. If they went well, you became boyfriend and girlfriend. It was defined. Now, definition is treated like pressure. Clarity is treated like rushing. Wanting to know where you stand is treated like you are asking for too much, too soon. And the reason that shift happened is simple. When optionality is infinite, clarity feels like closing doors. If you refuse to define the relationship, you never have to be accountable to it. You never have to explain where you were. You never have to prioritize someone. You never have to turn down other opportunities. You get to keep your options open, while someone else stays loyal to something that does not exist. Sometimes the architect is manipulative. Sometimes it is avoidant attachment masquerading as freedom. They built the maze because they are afraid of the exit too. But the result is the same. You are stuck. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago, long before dating apps, long before situationships had a name. Epictetus wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Here's what that means in plain English. You cannot control whether someone chooses you. You cannot force clarity out of someone who benefits from ambiguity. You cannot architect their commitment. But you can control whether you stay in a structure designed to keep you waiting. The Stoics called this recognizing what is within your control versus what is not. Modern psychology calls it boundaries. But the truth is the same. The moment you stop waiting for someone to define what you are and start defining what you will accept, the entire power dynamic shifts. So here's what changes now that you know this. First, stop treating ambiguity like it is neutral. It is not. When someone refuses to define the relationship, after weeks or months of operating like you are together, that refusal is a decision. It is not confusion. It is a choice. And the choice is to keep things exactly as they are. Second, notice the pattern. Every time you try to move the relationship forward, does something conveniently happen to derail the conversation. Work gets crazy. Family emergency. They need space. An ex resurfaces. First time they are busy, that is life. Third time they are busy, the exact moment you ask for clarity, that is structural. That is the architecture working exactly as designed. Third, ask yourself honestly, if nothing changed, if 6 months from now you were still in the exact same undefined space you are in right now, would you stay? If the answer is no, then staying now hoping it will change is just burning time you will never get back. And if you are ready to test the architecture, try this. Say, I like what we have, but I am looking for a defined relationship. If you are not there, I need to step back. Then stop negotiating, stop explaining, stop softening. Their response, or lack of one, will tell you everything. You did not architect the ambiguity, but you can choose to stop living in it. The Stoics were right. You cannot control whether someone chooses you clearly, but you can make the best use of what is in your power. And walking away from someone who refuses to meet you with clarity, that has always been in your power. Drop the word architect in the comments if this shifted how you see your almost relationship. And tell me, how long were you stuck in the limbo before you realized it was designed that way? The more specific you are, the more we all learn from it. If you want the next video on what actually makes someone become the architect, the psychology, the childhood patterns, the attachment styles, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss it.